ready to start the day. What time is it? It is 2:31. Yeah, I just took a shower, finished all my homework now, so time for music! Oh, is that? Get that homework out of here, disgusting. Oh yeah, hat. Alright, sick. What's up, guys? Haven't made a video in a while. Been working on a lot of music stuff. I kind of took a break from YouTube because I wanted to just go full in on music, and I've actually done a pretty good job of that, I think. Yeah, this paper thing, just my list of all the songs that I almost have finished. I'm gonna have tons of music coming out soon, maybe an EP, I don't know. But, yeah, besides that, this is kind of like a new type of video. I'm just gonna be kind of showing you guys music stuff, showing some tutorials, just kind of be like a mishmash tutorial vlog almost, but like not really. Well, I mean, if this video is cool or whatever, then I guess I'll have music vlogs, so yeah. So, since the last time I guys saw you, I got a field recorder, which is basically like, it's a machine, it's a contraption, and it has two super sensitive microphones right here. It also has like a bunch of plugins and has a lot of other uses, but I like it for the microphones. Basically, I use it to record all of my samples on it. So, I'll actually show you guys what it sounds like. Alright, 3, 2, 1. So right now you're listening to the audio through this guy. It doesn't sound super good until I put it super close to my mouth. Then it sounds a lot clearer. I don't have a windscreen on it, so you might hear a lot of pops. But it sounds really nice when you put it up to like super quiet sounds. Like right here I have a fidget spinner. These are super cool. But this is what it sounds like. Oh, jeez. Yeah, but I love this thing. It's pretty much the greatest. By the way, this is called, what is it called? It is the Zoom H, can I zoom on this? The Zoom H4n Pro. It is the best. So a question that I get asked a lot is how do you sidechain, which is actually pretty interesting because I never really struggled with sidechaining. It was just pretty instant for me. I didn't have to like look up that much stuff. But I get that question asked a lot, so I'm going to show you guys how I sidechain. So yeah, I'm going to hop over to the computer and show you guys that now. Alrighty, now that we're on the computer, I'm going to be showing you guys how I sidechain. I decided to pick this project file because it actually is a really good example for sidechaining. It's just a bass house song that I have been working on, but this is what it sounds like. So first off, I actually use a volume shaper instead of a compressor, and there's actually a couple reasons for that, and I'll get into that in a second. But the volume shaper that I use is called Shaperbox. It's literally identical to Volume Shaper 4 by Cable Guys. It's actually by the same people. The only difference from this is they have like a couple other things that you can do with it, but all I'm going to be using is just the volume shaper. And so the reason why I actually prefer to use a volume shaper over a compressor, besides like how much you can customize it, is because when you're making like dubstep or pretty much any electronic music in this case, you don't use like different samples. You don't use like, as far as drums, you don't like change the velocity of how loud your kick drum is going to be. I mean, maybe some people use like 5 different kick drums. I don't personally. I stick with the same kick drum and the same snare. The reason why compressors are used is to kind of like adapt to either how loud or how quiet it is instead of like locked to a certain value. So instead of ducking at like perfectly 10 decibels, well, preferably you would want it to be like infinite decibels so it completely cuts out, but it basically, instead of being locked to that ratio, it's able to adapt to like how loud or how quiet your drums are. But with electronic music, you don't really need that because you're using the same sample, so there's no need for you to have like a compressor. I just really enjoy volume shapers because you can really get in depth with how you want it to be shaped. But there are some cons to using a volume shaper, like multi-band compression, which, never mind. This also has multi-band compression. I'm sure there's a con, but this just works for me. So this is how I set it up. So first, I have like, obviously I have a bunch of groups, but I'm just going to be showing you the synth group. But I make a MIDI file and I just name it trigger. and I'll set this to synths or whatever group name it is. You want to set it to the full group name instead of like setting it to individual tracks. Basically, you're going to want to make a file, and then you're going to want to just set down a C note. It has to be C for volume or for shaper box. But this is just to trigger whenever the drums hit. So since I'm doing bass house, the drums don't really change, but in dubstep you might have more complex drums, or if you're doing a different genre, the drums are going to be different than just 1 2 1 2. But in my case, I just had to repeat the same note over and over again. But once you open up Shaperbox or Volume Shaper or whatever you're using, also LFO Tool works really well for this. You can use LFO Tool if you want. It's the same thing. But how I have mine set up is the loop length to be set to 1/4. And then the MIDI volume LFO thing to be set to beat. And then it says on note C. That's also why you have to set it to C. And then this is how I have my drums kind of set up. It has a huge curve, like a huge duck, because these drums, especially this kick, is really big. And I really wanted that kick to drive my track, so that's why I have such a huge duck. And also, just because in house music, it really does sound odd with having shorter attacks. So, like, if you had really tight drums, like I know Getter uses pretty tight drums, there are some other producers that do it too. They might have their kind of like sidechain attacks set differently, but like if I had this pretty tight like this, it would sound pretty odd. See, it sounds a lot better when I change it to have a bigger attack because it just has like more oomph. So yeah, that's how I sidechain my drums. Hey, you guys want to see something cool? This is an actual picture of The Rock, signed by The Rock, and it's hanging up in my room.